Hello, everybody. Welcome to Townsend 505, or welcome back if you're a lovely viewer. Don't worry, we're still doing Johnny Cash with me and Jacob. It's just there was a particular person in this group that really wanted to review this album. Pointed down right at him. Uh, if there's one person to thank for us reviewing this album today, thanks Scott, because honestly, we weren't going to do it this week. It was going to be next week, but
I want to get to out of our heads.
okay, that's fair enough. But
And I was also surprised when I re-listened to this one. It was a pleasant surprise that I actually kind of liked this album.
yes. So, hats off to Scott.
And hats off not to Roy Harper.
Yeah. Yes.
Actually,
Good Zeppelin 3 review is up. Go check it out.
More like Roy Crapper, am I right?
Oh boy.
Today we're going to be reviewing the Rolling Stones' third U.S. studio album. That's going to be the Rolling Stones Now, right up here. Anything you guys like to say or mention before we like to review this album?
Well, I would like to say this entire album was a blind spot. I had never heard any song on this album before. Not even the one big hit that this album had, a certain song called Heart of Stone. And after hearing this album, I was so surprised at how much I really enjoyed this album. Because this was where I would rate England's newest hit makers. This is where I'd put 12 by 5. This is where I'd put Rolling Stones Now. It is that good of an album. The fact that we're 3 albums in and you can see this incredible growth in such an iconic band, that just says something.
Oh, you better get ready because what they got coming up is if Rolling Stones Now is here.
Let's just say you'll be out of your head after listening.
Oh, yeah, I bet.
That's cool.
I'll be so happy I can't get no satisfaction.
Bow, 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 now, now, bow, now, now, now.
Don't copy strike me, Scott. I'm just kidding.
Do that.
Imagine if it does get copy strike.
Satisfaction, melody used at.
I'd be like, Scott, no. It'd be like muted, and then like when you do it, it would mute out.
I would just be going.
How about you, Scott? You have anything you'd like to mention or add?
So the first time I listened through these first 3 Rolling Stones albums, I just dismissed them as boring, samey blues music. Listening to them for, I don't know if it's the second time or what number of time I'm listening to them for, because I know I listened to them before we did the ranking video as well. But listening to them, I'll just say again, has given me a fresh perspective. You know the movie Ratatouille? Where he's like, I'd like a nice, fresh, some nice, fresh perspective. So the nice, fresh perspective has been provided for these early Rolling Stones albums. They are definitely better than I gave them credit for, and I am excited now to actually talk about this one. I'm glad that I'm going to be on all these Rolling Stones videos, because if I'm liking these first 3 this much, I can't wait to get to talk about the rest of them.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting too to hear your thoughts on the ones that you haven't heard yet, which was Undercover all the way to Hackney Diamonds. That's going to be.
I hear Steel Wheels is pretty good.
Steel Wheels is very underrated because it's like a lot of people who grew up around that time love that album, and it's like their comeback album of like the '80s. So
It's
I
the
feel like that's an album.
vacation, Aerosmith fans.
Yeah, so I feel like you like that album. Not that, but you have to at least join us for Hackney Diamonds because that's the newest.
Definitely. That's the newest one.
Yeah, but
And I've heard people say that was like their best album in years. So, of course, you'd want to be part of that one.
Jason said that was their best album, period.
Yeah, I remember him saying that.
I'd say it's their best album since Voodoo Lounge, which was '94. I really like Voodoo Lounge.
Are we gonna have to do Blue and Lonesome though? The covers album.
Unfortunately, yeah, but that's only one album.
There are 0 originals on that album.
Oh yeah, I feel like we'll all agree that's the worst Stones album.
Well, like they're going back to their early formula.
Well, it would have worked if it was their last album, because like they started as a blues artist, but then they ended as a.
Well, the last song on Hackney Diamonds is called Rolling Stone Blues, so
that works even better, to be honest. It worked before, but it works even better with Hacking Diamonds.
They're a
Well, not
blues
the
band,
album.
and then their last song is a blues song that's called Rolling Stone Blues.
Yeah. So I'm excited. I'm excited for us to go through their discography because,
Yeah.
yeah, me,
Wild horses couldn't drag me away. Why did I get that randomly in my head? I love that song. That's one of my favorite Stone songs.
oh yeah, I'm excited to talk about Sticky Fingers. So my thoughts on this album, my brief thoughts, huge improvement from their last album, and I think their last album was great. I think I gave it like an 8 out of at least. I think I even. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I gave it a 9 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10. I forgot what I rated it, but I gave it a good rating. I think this album's even better than that, if you could believe that. If you could believe your eyes and ears. But yeah, I'm excited to talk about this album. First track on the album is a blues cover. Everybody needs somebody to love.
This is a fun way to introduce the album with Mick Jagger kind of being like, "All right, everybody, you need somebody to love," and then like it actually gets into the song part. But I really like how like she just kind of talks and does that spoken word thing at the beginning. It's kind of a fun way to introduce the album.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of cool that the Rolling Stones did this song because, fun fact, my introduction to this song actually was the Blues Brothers. Amazing movie. I love the Blues Brothers version of this song. It's still my favorite version of this song. So the Stones doing it was kind of interesting. I'm not going to lie. When I was listening to the album, I'm like, okay, this is okay. It's kind of fun, but something doesn't really feel right in the recording. It felt like I was listening to a demo. Well, we'll come to find out this was kind of like a misprint. And the UK version of the same album, there's like a 5-minute version of the same song that's longer. And I went and listened to the UK version. The UK version of this song is so much better. If that's one thing the Brits did better, is they had the better recording of Everybody Needs Somebody to Love. I like that version a lot better. But I will say, if you listen to the UK version of this song, I think it's one of the best covers on the album. The US version is just a weird demo.
I really like both versions of this song. To me, they're about neck and neck because one's like a fun like slower version of the song which is why it's 5 minutes. The other one's like very fast beat and really cool. So like it's like, to me it depends on which one I'm in the mood for. So like most of the time I'm in the mood for the longer version, but if I'm in the mood for like a faster version of this song, I go to the US version. Throughout this video, I'll tell you which UK albums these songs are from because it gets a little confusing to people who aren't familiar with it. This is from their second album, Rolling Stones #2. I think that version's better, just slightly, if I had to pick. But to me, like I said, they're neck and neck. Next song on the album is another cover, "Down Home Girl."
This is a really good cover, and the chorus is super catchy. You're so down home.
Girl.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, I like this song a lot too. It's got some there was some weird wordplay in the verses. Like the one line that stood out to me when I heard the album again, it's like, I'm gonna throw you in the water to see how it messes with your velvet skin or something like that. I'm like, that's a weird thing to say. But it's still a pretty catchy song. It does have a good groove to it, and more importantly, there's this really cool piano part at the very end of the song that's like really electrifying when you get to it. I'm pretty sure it's Ian Stewart, who we all appreciate.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my favorite on the album, but it's still really good.
I think this is one of my favorites from the album. It's funny because I hate that I said this back. It was like last year. I'm like, this song is awful.
No.
I'm like, I think the song is amazing. What are you talking about? Like,
Well,
this is
then again, I said this album and 12 by 5 only each had one song worth listening to, and the rest was all boring and samey last year. So
You know what's well the big reason why I did kind of feel that, but I feel like I dramatized myself with disliking the early Stones because I know you and Briar didn't like it, and I feel like I had to fit in that aspect. So
conform or be cast out, I guess.
subdivisions. Right now, Jacob's like, what the heck are they talking about?
Like whenever I said subdivisions on one of my videos, and you were like,
Who-
"Oh yeah, whatever that is."
yeah, the Who. You were saying about that. I'm like, what the heck is he going on about? yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think you're talking because it was like quadrophenia that we were talking about.
Yeah. Briar
I'm like-
was like, Jimmy feels cast out from his peers, and I just went subdivisions, and then
like,
Nick,
yeah,
you're just like, yeah.
I remember that Who song. That's just like I don't know that Who song. I was too much of a I hated that I was like that, but I've grown from that. Uh, yeah, I've definitely been a lot more vocal and a lot more defensive of these early Stones albums, and I'm glad we all appreciate these last two albums we've been reviewing. Uh, I think we could all agree that the debut is pretty mediocre, but I'm glad we could agree that 12 by 5 and Now are good albums. Yeah, Downhill Girl, great song. Speaking of great songs, great next song on the album is a Chuck Berry cover. This is from what I know, this is their last Chuck Berry cover for. Well, they have a live version of Route 66, but this is like the last Chuck Berry cover on like as a studio track on their discography. So, what do you think of that?
I thought it was a pretty catchy tune. It's got a good rhythm to it. I'm not familiar with the Chuck Berry version, so I can't compare the two, but I feel like this is probably the best. No, actually, I think I still like Around and Around better from 12 by 5, but this is still like a really good cover. I like I kind of like the fast speed of the lyrics. I think it's pretty cool. I heard that one line. He's like, "Here come old flat top, I'm coming up slowly." I'm like, where have I heard that before? It's like that seems like a clever line.
So interesting fact. This is a spoiler for Abbey Road in the Beatles series, but since we're talking about You Can't Catch Me, and you can't really avoid this fact, but originally Come Together was supposed to sound pretty much like this, and John Lennon, because it was a Chuck Berry homage, John Lennon threw in that line as an homage to Chuck Berry, and they're like, it used to be like, "Here come on flat top, he come grooving up slowly, he got to your eyeball, he want holy roller, he
Yeah.
got head down to his knees." But then was actually McCartney's idea to kind of slow it down a little bit, and he threw that funky bass line in there, and boom, 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 and it made it kind of a different thing. But Chuck Berry still sued him over that line.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I like both songs. Well, I think Come Together is more amazing, but I do like this song a lot. I think when I first heard the album, this was in my top 5. When I re-listened to it, I think it knocked down a peg. There was another cover I liked even more than this, but it's still one of the highlights from the album.
Ooh, get ready for the next song.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a really good cover on the album. I think this is I think this is their best Chuck Berry cover that they ever did. So they were definitely well, 1, 2, 3. They were 4 for 4 with their Chuck Berry covers. If you ask me, I don't. They haven't done a bad Chuck Berry cover. Even on their debut, I think their cover of Chuck Berry was pretty good. Route 66 and Carol are really good covers. I will say this is a billion times better. Not than Come Together. I think Come Together is a lot better because it's a completely different song. I think this is a million times better than the John Lennon version on his album.
So the only reason he had to do that is because that's how they settled the lawsuit. Chuck Berry sued John Lennon, but Chuck Berry and John Lennon eventually became friends, and they recorded Johnny B. Good Live, and he just said, You know what? We'll just drop this whole thing if you record a rock and roll album cover and include "You Can't Catch Me" on it.
Yeah, I think the full album is awful. I think it's his weakest non-Yoko related album /
Yoko.
album. It's just yeah.
Okay, your Yoko impression's far better. I'm still getting over a cold.
Yoko, oh no!
Yoko, oh no!
Yoko, oh no! Yoko, oh shit!
Yoko, oh no! Karaoke tape. It is.
That's funny.
Shout out
But,
to Steve Terryberry for that funny video.
Oh boy.
Yeah, this is a really good song though. Not I wouldn't say it's it's probably one of my least favorites on this album, but it's still really good. I'd still take this song over like the majority of the debut album.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Next song is the first original on this album, so
Oh, and it's a good one.
Heart of Stone.
This song is amazing. I'm just gonna spoil it. This is my favorite song on the album. I had never heard this song until when I listened to the album. And I'm not the biggest fan of like the slow ballads of the Rolling Stones. Some of their other ones doesn't really do much for me. That whatever album that has Angie on it, I hate that song with a passion. That song is cringe with a capital C. Heart of Stone is an amazing ballad. It has a great acoustic production. Mick Jagger sings so well in the song. I love the bass on the song where every time Mick Jagger sings, it goes down, 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 down.
Yes.
And then it just slowly builds, and then it goes, and you'll never break this heart of stone. Oh, I mean, Mick Jagger sings so good on this song, and the production's really good. It's a good slow ballad. It's like lyrically, it's pretty interesting. It's like this womanizer. He's trying to break this girl's heart, but she's like one step in him, and I'm like, okay, this is a really interesting song lyrically, mixed with a great production. I'm like, the more I'm listening to these albums, Mick Jagger, Keith Richards are stepping up their writing abilities. Like, this song is terrific.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you like this song, I have a feeling you're going to love a song 2 albums later on the December's Children album called As Tears Go By.
I feel like we'll have a trifecta in that album. I feel like we'll all agree that's the best song on the album. But
Well, my favorite song on that album is actually Get Off of My Cloud.
Hey,
Get off of my cloud.
That's fair. Yeah. But what do you think of this song as a whole, Scott?
Oh, it's amazing. Like what Jacob was talking about, that bass part, boom, 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 boom. And then the chorus, you'll never break, never break, never break, never break this heart of stone. And there's some really good guitar playing on it as well.
I think
really
it's
feel
one
like up until this point, this is probably the song I think has the best guitar work on it.
Oh, I could totally see that, and I totally agree with that. This is definitely their best country song that they've done up until this point. I consider this to be them like tackling going into like country music, and I think they do it really well.
Yeah.
Oh, how you doing, Tyler?
Hey, Tyler.
It's Tyler, my roommate.
Hey.
We might actually be able to get Tyler on the Led Zeppelin 4 video. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I welcome that.
Oh, there he is right there. Now he's actually here. Tyler, do you want to join us on the Led Zeppelin 4 video?
Hello.
Possibly. That might be possible.
Hey,
How are y'all doing, gentlemen?
we are doing good.
Doing good.
Watching,
We're just raving about Heart of Stone.
Yes.
yes. It's an artist, the band I probably need to get into.
Yes. Okay, now that I'm getting into the Stones again, I can buy their albums and I can start getting him into the Stones now that I like them again.
Okay, cool.
I kind of dismissed the Stones there for a while just because I thought they were a boring blues band, but I'm getting into them again.
You know who was like that with a different band?
Who?
Me with the Led Zeppelin. I thought they were a boring blues band until I got into the like.
I think I'm halfway through that Led Zeppelin video y'all did.
Oh, Led Zeppelin 3.
Uh,
Yeah. I think y'all are talking about Tangerine.
Tangerine.
Yeah, Tangerine was
I
good.
love Led Zeppelin 3. Out on the Tiles is my favorite track on that album.
Oh, that's a great.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then it'd probably have to be Gallows Pole.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Hey,
From the
man.
gallows pole.
Hey, man.
Great
Love
song.
Gallows Pole.
And now I laugh and watch you swing from the gallows pole.
It's funny because, well, going back to the Rolling Stones Now review, the first 3 songs on this album were from their second UK album.
See you
This-
later. Bye.
See
Oh,
ya.
have a go on, Tyler. Speaking of UK albums, this was the UK. This was on the UK Out of Our Heads.
Wow.
Which, it works on this album perfectly, but for Out of Our Heads,
No, out of our. I mean, I love this song. Don't get me wrong, but when I think out of our heads, the first 3 or 4 songs I think of are all songs that aren't on the UK version. The first thing I think of is Satisfaction. The next one's probably Play with Fire, and then like The Last Time and Under Assistant West Coast Promotional Man. Those are the 4 songs I think of when I think of Out of Our Heads.
if you ask me what my favorite song from the US Out of Our Heads would be, I'd say Play with Fire. But if you ask me what my favorite song from the UK album is, I'd say Under Assistant West Coast Man.
Okay, so that actually is on the UK version.
Yeah, it's on both versions, thankfully.
Good.
Which is funny because it's the B-side to Satisfaction.
That's the B-side to Satisfaction?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I need to get that 45 because I love both of those songs.
Oh yeah. Me personally, I think both songs are neck and neck. I don't know what I'll rank Under Assistant. I don't know if it's my second favorite from Out of Our Heads US or if it's my third favorite. I'm still wondering that. My 4 favorite songs are definitely Play with Fire, Satisfaction, Under Assistant, and The Last Time. Those are for me bar none the 4.
Yeah, no, those are my 4 favorites as well.
Picking the 5th favorite's hard because there's so many other great songs, but I'm not sure though.
Well,
What-
when we get to that album, I
Yeah,
think
we're gonna-
maybe you can make a final opinion on that in the
Yeah,
next review.
that's a little spoiler for next time.
Kind of a sneak peek.
Mhm. Hopefully we could do Out of Our Heads early next week. That'd be nice.
Yeah. Hopefully my record will come in. I bought Out of Our Heads. I hope it's going to come in before the next review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to the Stones review, yeah, it's interesting how like this was on like this album, but like it's in the UK, it's like on that album. Yeah, that's a really good song though. Next song on the album is from their
Bro, before we move on, I just thought of something. Heart of Stone kind of has an R&B influence to it.
oh
Now that
yeah.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, could you imagine possibly James Brown doing Heart of Stone?
I've never thought of that, but I think it could
Like,
be
there's
well.
a song. I haven't listened to the James Brown version, but there's a song with the Who cover called "I Don't Mind," and Heart of Stone kind of has a similar vibe to it.
Okay.
Imagine if James Brown did the Crunch.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Roger Daltrey covered Heart of Stone?
Oh yeah, and like
on
his
a
like
big My Generation album.
in the in like the maximum R&B days of the Who. Yeah, that would have been cool.
As far as country artists in the 60s doing Heart of Stone, I could see maybe. Like, you guys imagine Johnny Cash doing it in his style?
Kind of.
Oh, actually, no. George Jones would do the song really well.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, probably more George
Jones.
Jones
I
than
just
Johnny
popped on
Cash.
that. It just came to me.
That's not
Maybe-
a Johnny Cash type song.
Maybe Willie Nelson, maybe? I don't know.
Really?
Yeah,
Nelson.
Willie Nelson a lot better. too.
I can see Willie Nelson doing it too.
But let's go back to the reviews. Reviewing this album. Next song on the album is "What a Shame," and this is from their. This is from on this album, and it's on their UK number 2 album.
This is
Yeah.
another good song. I like all the original songs on this album.
Oh yeah, it's the second original.
Yeah.
That I also got to mention.
I'm just gonna say it off the bat. My 4 favorite songs on this album are the originals, and this one is great too. I read this was the B side to Heart of Stone. This is probably the most traditionally bluesy of the 4 originals, but I don't mind that because even with it being bluesy, it still has kind of the energy that I come to expect from the Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger's starting to come to his own. I feel like as a vocalist, the way he sings, kind of like the hook of the song, about "What a shame," and there's some good guitar rhythms in this song, and that's probably the weakest of the 4 originals, but it's still one of my favorites on the album.
I get that. I like the guitar effect on it. Boom, bum, ba-da, boom, bum, ba-da, boom, boom. That track always stood out to me when I first heard it, and it still stands out to me. I think this song's really good. Definitely want to definitely. I wouldn't say it's in my top 5, but it's a really good song. Uh, Next song on the album is this is gonna be two of us is gonna like the song. It's called Mona.
Mm.
So I'm one of them. I think it's really infectious, just like the boom, 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 ba-dum, dum, boom, 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 ba-dum, boom. I say Mona. I don't know. I just like how they kind of keep that boom, 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 ba-dum, dum, boom, boom. It's a good jam.
I guess Nick, you want to share your thoughts and share the other one.
I really like this track. Yeah, when Scott was like, "I like this track," and I'm like, "Me too."
Good.
I would have been so upset if Scott was like, "Yeah, I agree, Jacob. This song sucks." I would have been like, "Oh, I'm the only one who likes this track," but I'm so glad I'm not. I will say this though, on the debut album, it's like the biggest highlight on the debut album besides "Tell Me," but on this album, it's just one of the songs I like.
Yeah.
Like this was because this was the track that was taken off of the UK album as like to put in "Not Fade Away." So
It's funny you bring that up because I feel like if this song was on the debut album, it'd be one of the highlights. But because it's on the Rolling Stones now, it's one of the weakest tracks on the album. And judging it on that front, I don't think the song fully works. And even then, it's not one that I would go back to as a song. I'm not a real big fan of Mick Jagger's vocals on this song. It just kind of takes me out of it. The chord progression I thought was a little weird too. It wasn't. It's not one that I gravitated towards. And of the songs, not counting the non-album singles, this is like my least favorite song on the album.
yeah, this was what they were trying to what Brian Jones was trying to do was trying to do like a Bo Diddley style song.
Yeah, and this was a Bo Diddley song originally. I did look that up, and even because I could recognize the style of chords from some of Bo Diddley's other songs, and I'm like curious if the Bo Diddley version's better than this.
Oh yeah, speaking of Bo Diddley, there's a song off of "Please Go Home" that has a strong resemblance to Bo Diddley.
Oh, from the on the Flowers album.
Yeah, from the when we're reviewing it's gonna be the Flowers album, but for me it would be the UK Between the Buttons album because I'm used to we're going to be reviewing the US Between the Buttons, but yeah, we're going to be discussing it on the Flowers album. I think it closes out side one pretty good, but side 2 opens up with "Down the Road" a piece.
Yes, I love this song. This is my favorite cover on the album. I'm not familiar with the original, but the Stones version of this song rocks. It's got this good like boogie woogie type feel to it. It almost does have kind of a country vibe to it. I could see some like country rocker somewhere. do this song. I think Charlie Daniels, I think, could have done a good version of this
Mm.
song if he was doing it. But the Stones did such a good job on this. I like the hook about this cool place where people hang out down the road of peace. I love the reference to fried chicken and grease. I'm like, oh, this sounds like my kind of place. I'd want to go to this place and eat there. It's,
This is
the more I've heard it, it's crept up a little bit. It's one of my favorites from this
Mhm.
album.
this is pretty much the Stones doing what they do best in their early days, and that's just going at it with the blues. And is that Ian Stewart on the piano?
Yes.
Yeah,
Good. He's always really good on the piano. That's the thing. I really like whenever bands incorporate piano, and honestly, I might get a lot of hate for saying this, but keyboards as well. Don't get me wrong. I'm a guitar player. My favorite instrument is the guitar, but my second favorite instrument is probably actually the piano and the keyboard. Probably because that's what I can play and I can understand about it. But I just always love it whenever there's good piano and keyboard, especially whenever they use keyboards as like kind of has an interesting sound, which is probably why I like Yes so much, because Rick Wakeman and whoever the other people are, I forget the names. Patrick Moraz is one of them, but they always use really interesting keyboard sounds.
Interesting. I think this is one of the best songs on the album. It's just a fun track. I thought it was pretty good. This is another track that's from their second album in the UK. This is actually this. I actually didn't start liking this song from this album. I actually liked it because of the UK second album, because I really started listening to that album. And to be honest, this is probably my because time is on my side. I like, but that's probably my favorite song on the UK second album, Rolling Stones #2. I just love the fun nature of that song, and it works really well on this album as well. I'm so glad we all could agree on that. I remember when we ranked the albums that like none of us really mentioned that song when we ranked it originally. But like I said, when we rank all the albums next time, that will be a wrong that will surely be fixed.
Yes.
Next song on the album is the third original, "Off the Hook."
I love this song. This is so good. I love just kind of it's off the hook. It's off the hook. I really like that. And Ian Stewart. Amazing piano on this one as well.
yeah, this is one of my favorites as well. Another great original. It's got a great hook to it. I love every time they say "off the hook." There's also a good bass part to this song. It's going ding, 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 ding. It's another amazing song. There's some clever wit to it.
I think that might be what I like the best about the Stones is that Charlie Watts, Bill Wyman, and Keith Richards are always just in the pocket playing together, and they got that groove going.
Mhm.
Yeah, and if they get along well, they can create some great stuff when they coordinate together, and I can definitely tell that, especially with this song.
And then later on in the 70s, you'll get that amazing rhythm section with Mick Taylor doing some really cool guitar soloing over it. Excited to get to talk about that.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about like "Let It Bleed," "Sticky Fingers," "It's Only Rock and Roll," "Exile on Main Street." Those are all albums I'm really excited to talk about. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it. I'm really excited to have Scott listen to Exile again because
I need to try it again.
yes,
It's Briar.
evening people
Briar!
from work. Hey, Brian, you want to
He's
hop
off
on
the
and talk about the Rolling Stones? We're down. I'm just kidding.
He's off the hook.
Yes,
He's off the hook.
maybe.
He's off the hook.
You know what? Maybe if
You want to join in on Out of Our Heads, Briar?
that's up to him. That'd be cool if he joined us on that.
I have
I
I have a really great idea when this stream is over.
Okay,
We can listen to Out of Our Heads.
you want to do that, Jacob?
Sure.
Cool.
Cool.
Sure.
Speaking of which, next, I think this song's.
I
amazing.
just want to see Jacob's reaction to Out of Our Heads. I got to see it as it happens.
Okay. You want me to pause as each song goes on and ask for his opinions, or you just
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
We'll have to have Jacob be the one to stream it so he can hear the music quality the best.
Oh yeah, I'll let him stream it. Not that, but me and you could. Well, not sadly not you. I could listen through to. I can't listen through my record player because I'd have to take the needle off every time the song is over.
Oh, yeah. The song is over.
Yeah, Off the Hook is a great song.
It's off the hook.
Interesting enough, this was a B-side to a cover song that they released as a single.
Really?
Yeah, I'll just say I looked up the B side and the A side. The B side is way better.
What's the A side?
Little
Little Red Rooster.
Little Red Rooster. The A side is so. I mean, the B side. Oh, no, wrong. The B side. The B side is so much better.
Man, seeing these kind of seeing.
I'll say this. They're still not my favorite, but they're a heck of a lot better than I've given them credit for. I'll give them that.
Yeah, Brian, definitely give them another chance.
Especially this one, Rolling Stones Now. It's pretty good.
This is an awesome album, Briar.
Awesome.
Even 12 by 5, I'd say give them another listen to
This
that.
is a great album.
Now the debut, you can skip that one.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, just listen to Tell Me.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Off the Hook. Yeah. It's. Well, we'll talk about Little Red Rooster, but yeah, this is the B side to.
Under the boardwalk.
Little
Boardwalk.
Mick Jagger botches under the boardwalk.
Yeah, still not a fan of the Under the Boardwalk version.
I love your username, Brian Jammin Jones.
There's a reason why I put that. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, Jacob, you can take this glass half full or glass half empty. That either means that he needs to listen to it again, or that you're going to absolutely love what's coming up.
Okay. Okay. If Now is near the bottom of his list, that means they must have some more amazing albums.
Oh,
after this.
these guys are amazing.
Yeah. Well, let's get back to the review portion.
You know, these guys are so amazing because today, at my work, like apparently some of the people at my work are being organized into teams for a thing, and they're all represented by team names, and the team names are represented by genres. And funny enough, I got put in the rock team, but they chose Motley Crue as the picture, and I'm thinking in my head, we couldn't have got a cool rock band like the Rolling Stones as the picture.
I know, right?
Excuse me.
And that's the first. Well, at first I thought of Led Zeppelin, but I thought, you know what? You know what's even better? I bet the Rolling Stones would be an even better one.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad you think that. Yeah. Well, let's get back to the reviewing because now I want Jacob to listen to Out of Our Heads. Next song on the album is "Pain in My Heart."
Okay. See, I've actually heard the original version of this song. It's by a great soul singer named Otis Redding.
Yes.
This version's really good if you haven't heard it. When I first heard Mick Jagger sing it, I'm like, Mick Jagger is no Otis Redding. This is a pale cover. And then I kept listening to it, and there's this cool electric piano backing him up. And I thought that was a cool part. And that was kind of helping Mick Jagger sing out, I guess, kind of the pain in the way he was singing it, which obviously is not near as soulful as Otis Redding. I'm like, you know what? I don't mind this version. The original is way better, but this is still a pretty solid cover. It's not one of my favorites from the album, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, he's definitely doing kind of a more soulful vocal. He sings it well, but I can imagine Otis Redding probably does this a lot better if it's anything like Try a Little Tenderness or Sitting on the Dock of the Bay.
Yeah.
I honestly never heard Pain in My Heart Otis Redding before, so I can't give it a definitive opinion. But if it's like the Wilson Pickett version of 99.5 and
Oh, yeah.
PCR, I'll probably go with the original because no one could do soul better than Otis Redding or like the originals because it's more their territory. But I don't want to go too deep into that. But yeah, I probably will prefer that version though. I'm gonna agree with Briar's comment said though. Then again, I was listening to the albums in order for that original ranking. Now I was getting tired of blues by that point. That's the thing with you guys, you and Scott, is that you guys were listening to it in order, back to back to back.
And it was just like, oh boy, more Rolling Stones blues music.
You guys weren't like listening to it like separately. I was listening to it separately.
I
like,
just started to tune out.
for me, I didn't tune out because I was listening to each album individually, and I got to like listen to each song and all that. And it wasn't like for a ranking, so I actually got to like experience them. You guys were like, we got to listen to this for the ranking.
Yeah,
So-
because we only had a. Well, I know we like talked about it way in advance. Like we're gonna do the Rolling Stones in like a month or something like that. But I still remember feeling rushed to listen to all these albums.
Yeah, when we get to like after we get done with Hackney Diamonds, you guys we're gonna be like, you're gonna listen to them authentically. You're gonna be like, you won't feel forced, you won't feel rushed. And when we actually rank the albums, all 27 of them, you're gonna feel a lot better with the ranking because you're actually listening to them without feeling rushed. But yeah, that's.
I want to feel rushed, especially when I listen to music, moving pictures.
But I think this is a good version. But yeah, I think the originals. I think the original would be a little better if I did. Would be better if I did listen to it. And funny, this is another like Down the Road piece, Off the Hook, Pain in My Heart. It's another song from the UK second album. So I feel like if you did listen to the UK album, Shake Up, I feel like you would like Rolling Stones #2 because it's like a mix between the songs from 12 by 5 and the mix of songs from this album, but like without the hit singles on it.
Yeah.
Next song on the album is from well, it's the 10th song on this album, but funny enough, it's on the UK aftermath. But it's on the UK Out of Our Heads, and that's Oh Baby, We've Got a Good Thing Going.
I enjoyed this song. It's not one that stands out remotely, but Mick Jagger sings really well on it, and I thought it was a solid little blues ballad. It's one of the weaker songs on the album, but I do think it's a step up above Mona.
It's all right. I definitely would never see this song being on Out of Our Heads, but it's okay. It's okay.
I like this song, but I agree with you guys. It's one of the lower songs on the album. I still think this is better than a lot of the songs on the debut album, but
Yeah.
Next song on the album, Little Red Rooster.
Yo, hold on a second. I've got the track listing for Rolling Stones now pulled up, and then there's a video talking about Ian Stewart. It's got a picture of him. Apparently, they said that they got rid of him because they didn't think his image fit the band. There's a picture of him right here. He looks like he'd fit perfectly in with the Rolling Stones.
I gotta say, Little Red Rooster. This was the A side. Off the Hook was the B side. I already said I like Off the Hook better. Little Red Rooster is such a weird song. I have a little red rooster. I hope I don't lose the rooster. I'm like, this is a weird song. I don't know if I fully get it, but I will say what saves it. Brian Jones. His guitar work on this song is amazing. Probably some of the. I mean, I can't say with. I wish I could know which songs Keith Richards was leading and which songs Brian Jones was leading. But everyone said Brian Jones was the one who made this song, and so that's how I knew he did a great job on this. So the reason why I enjoy this song is more so the production than like the actual lyrics of the song, because the guitar work on this is absolutely amazing.
Stephen Fish commented, Ian Stewart had that look that was later adapted by Jay Leno. LOL. I've never seen Jay Leno before.
He was the guy who used to be on the Tonight Show for Jimmy Fallon.
I'll look him up after this video. Like, thanks for the comment. And This is the first time seeing you comment on my video, so welcome to my channel. Welcome to Townsend 505.
Welcome to the Stones.
Bloody hell, mate.
Yeah. Oh, this is
Welcome
the
to the
album.
Stones,
this
where we're
is
going
the
to talk
album
about
where the
rock
produ-
and roll.
This is the album where the producer encouraged people to beat blind men for their money.
Steal their money so they can buy the
album.
Rolling Stones.
It's funny on my mono box set, this version up here, the one I'm showing that actually has the best cover out of the two I own. They actually got rid of that. They removed that. I'm surprised they did. I'm surprised they didn't try to replicate it, but yeah, they took that part off of the version. My opinion on Willow Red Rooster, it's freaking amazing. I love this song. This is like one of the rare cases where I think like the cover is just like way better than the original. I heard the original before, but this version is way better. The guitar playing is definitely the biggest like highlight on it. Brian Jammin' Jones there. This song's epic. I love it so much, and I could see why this was one of their biggest hits up until Satisfaction. It's just so good.
Look, here's my question. Is he a little red rooster? Is he a king bee? Is he a monkey? Or is he a cold Italian pizza? I can't tell.
Let's just say he's all of them. All of the above.
He's all that, but most importantly, he's a street fighting man.
Yeah.
He's a prodigal son. He's a star.
He's a star, something I can't say.
That's funny. But yeah, I love this song. What do you think about it though, Scott?
It's all right. I don't know. Not one of my favorites on the album, but Brian Jammin' Jones.
That's fair. Last song on the album, Surprise, Surprise.
Now this song
this one's good.
is one of my favorites from the album.
He's a 2000 man.
I think I've heard that song. That one's all right.
It's from the Cosmic Christmas album.
Oh, that album. Okay.
Yep, that album.
Okay, we'll get to that one later. Surprise, surprise! Though this is probably one of my favorite hidden gem tracks from the Rolling Stones. Again, it's got a great groove to it. I especially love the chorus where it's like, "I knew he was telling lies, knew he was telling lies." So it's a really catchy song. So this could have been a hit song if they wanted to push it, but it's kind of crazy they never did, because I could see this being a #1 hit in an alternate universe. But yeah, I really like this one. Again, I love the 4 Jagger Richards originals, and they help elevate this to being a great album, and this is one of them.
This last song is good. We end the album on a good one. We started with a good one. We end with a good one. There was a lot of good ones in the middle. There's a few okay songs, but I don't really feel like there was any bad songs on this album.
No.
Yeah. I'm surprised. Yeah, I'm surprised this wasn't released as a single. I know this is a U.S. exclusive track, though. This wasn't on any U.K. albums, so it's interesting on that aspect. It was probably on an EP, though. Surprise, surprise. So I'm not gonna look that up because I don't feel like searching that. But yeah, I looked.
Called the Rolling Stones #3.
But yeah, this is an amazing way to close out the album. One of my favorites. Definitely my favorite of the 4 originals, but of course, that's my opinion. But what is your guys' top 5 songs?
Oh boy.
Oh, we're not going to cover the non-album singles.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Sorry. So basically, what I did was I knew you weren't going to want to talk about these after a mediocre album. Well, not that, but there's another song called "I Can't Be Satisfied" from the #2 album. That's like their one of 2 only UK exclusive songs. That and we're covering UK Aftermath, so we don't have to worry about that. But there's a song called "I Can't Be Satisfied." We'll talk about that too. But there's 5 songs. Well, there's 3 singles with 3 B-sides. Come On and I Want to Be Loved. That's one single. I Want to Be Your Man and Stoned as the second single. You Better Move On and Poison Ivy as the third single. You're probably thinking, you didn't mention You Better Move On. Well, You Better Move On was actually on December's Children, so that's why we're going to talk. That's when we're going to talk about that song. But what do you guys think of the first single, though? Come On and I Want to Be Loved.
Okay, Come On. That's a Chuck Berry cover. I saw that. So this is another Chuck Berry one. Again, this is another one where I've not heard the Chuck Berry original. It makes me want to go back and cover Chuck Berry at some point since he's one of the legends in rock and roll. But I thought this was a pretty solid start. I think I read this was actually their debut single in the UK, so that's a fun fact. Uh, I like it better than most of the songs on the debut album.
Yeah,
If it was on the debut album, it would bump up my score a little bit.
some of these singles is like, where was this on the debut album? Even
I know, right?
Women's newest hit makers, U.S. record executives. Come on, can you not see that we want these on the
Yeah,
on the debut album here?
I thought "Come On" it had a catchy groove to it. I like some of the harmonies on it. It wasn't bad.
Is "Come On" the A side?
It's the A side.
Okay, well then this is another case where I like the B side better.
Oh my gosh, the B side to this is amazing.
I wants to be loved.
I wants to be loved. This is my favorite of the non-album singles. This song was awesome. I thought this almost felt like it could have been a Beatles song almost, which I thought was kind of fascinating because I thought the Stones was marketed as the anti-Beatles, but I could see like maybe Paul McCartney doing a good job leading this song as the Beatles. Strangely,
This is early Stones though.
but
This is like before
it's still pretty good though. Like I like the harmonica on the song. I like the way Mick Jagger says, "I want to be loved." It's of the five non-album songs, this one's my favorite.
Cool. My thoughts on the single, the A side, "Come On's a really good song. It's basically their "Love Me Do." I think the song's really great way to start off their career. Really great high for them. "I Want to Be Loved." We're gonna have a trifecta on this one. I think this is way better than the A side, and I think the A side's incredible. This is definitely a quality song. When I first heard the song, I'm like, how is this the B side? But to each their own. Maybe the Stones weren't as big into it. Maybe they thought "I Want to Be Loved" wasn't good enough to be the A side. Maybe they're just like, we don't like it as much. Maybe we're just the outcasts on that. But yeah. Next single I want to talk about, "I Want to Be Your Man," backed with Stoned.
So this was written for them by Lennon and McCartney, interestingly enough.
So,
And
the
the Beatles
Stones actually recorded this before the Beatles did.
Yes, it was written for the Stones. The Stones released it as a single, and then the Beatles on their second album were like, you know what? Let's do our own version. There's kind of a similar situation with the Stones later on. Mick Jagger was dating a singer named Marianne Faithfull, which the Beatles write a song about that on called "And Your Bird Can Sing." His bird is like a British slang term for girl. But Mick Jagger wrote a song for Marianne Faithfull called "As Tears Go By," but the Rolling Stones released their own version of it first. But so Marianne Faithfull has her version, but the Stones released their version as well, like about the same time.
Wow. But yeah, I'll share my thoughts on the Beatles version of "I Want to Be Your Man" when we review with the Beatles later this week. The Stones version, to be honest, not a fan. Mick Jagger sounds really weird on this song. It didn't really do much for me. It was just kind of a disposable track, especially the way the Stones sang it.
Really? I actually kind of liked the Stones version. I was only really familiar with the Beatles version. I heard this. The guitar and the bass are much more powerful, and Mick Jagger does a pretty good job singing on this. And I feel like with the Beatles, it was just a throwaway Ringo song, which Ringo really gets the short end of the stick for the first few albums. But with the Stones, it felt like they actually put some thought into it. I don't know.
What do you guys think of Stoned?
I of the three instrumentals that we've covered so far, this one had the best groove to it. The only thing that kind of that throws me off of the song, I like the production on the song, but then you get Mick Jagger going, Stone and Stone. Wasted. Like that. Like, you're,
Well, Mick
Like,
Jagger had to do
you're going a
something
little
other than
too
just
far
bang
with-
the tambourine.
you're going a little. Maybe you're taking that a little too far, Mick.
I don't know. This single is proven to
But
be.
I
not
thought it was
really-
a pretty fun instrumental.
This single is proven not to be really a winner, honestly.
Mm.
I like it over I Want to Be Your Man. I like the way
I like I Want to Be Your Man better, but it's still not my favorite Stones song.
So like the A side you like, but like the B side you could take or leave.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't even remember it very well.
Me personally, I think the A side is horrible. I think it's funny. Scott in the group chat, Scott's like, "I'm Team Rolling Stones for once." Jacob's like, "I'm
Yeah.
Team Beatles," and I'm like, "I'm Team both songs are garbage." I don't like either version. I'm going to be brutally honest. Both are generic. Both are repetitive. Both I instantly turn off as soon as I hear it. It's just awful. I think the B side's way better. It's a nice groove, as Jacob would say. I'd rather take a nice groove than a generic stupid song. Next single is "You Better Move On" as the A side and "Poison Ivy" as the B side. We're gonna save our thoughts on the A side for when we cover December's Children. So we're just gonna go to the B side on that. Poison Ivy.
Yeah, I've heard the original version of Poison Ivy. It's by a group called the Coasters, and I like that version awfully well. They're known primarily for their novelty songs like Yakety Yak and Charlie Brown. They're all fun songs. Again, this is one where I'm like, yeah, this version sucks. I didn't care for this at all. I thought it was the production. I thought was really weird. I didn't care for. To me, it was just a very disposable cover, and it didn't really do much for me. Like, to me, I Want to Be Your Man and Poison Ivy, to me, felt like rejects from the first album, and they didn't really do much for me.
I feel like it would have went well on the first album, honestly speaking. Like, it's not one of my favorites, but it's a lot better than some of the stuff they were doing on their first album. I'll say that much.
I think it's an okay track. It's not the best, but just covering it. Like I said, the only reason why we're covering it now and not the debuts because I feel like we're a lot more in a good mood to talk about these earlier singles than have been in when we were listening to the debut. Not that, but it sort of came out last minute in my mind about these. Did any of you guys listen to "I Can't Be Satisfied"?
I listened to that song, and I wasn't crazy about that one. I thought it was kind of boring. I hear the title, "I Can't Be Satisfied," and I hear it, I'm like, they did a better version of this song. It's called "I Can't Get No Satisfaction." And I'll share my thoughts on that song when we get to the next album.
I don't think I listened to that one.
Yeah, I think it's an okay track. The only reason why I wanted to talk about it this video was because it's a UK exclusive track. Well, it's one of two UK exclusive tracks, and
Weren't there several UK exclusives on Aftermath? Or
Well,
were there B-sides?
it's just what to do because
What about Take It or Leave It?
Flowers.
Ah. Is that on Flowers?
Yes. Take it or leave it. Not what to do. Mother's Little Helper. Take it or leave it, and a shortened version of Out of Time were on Flowers. What to do is the only UK exclusive.
Ah, there it is. Okay.
But yeah,
So it is What to Do. Okay.
that's another reason why.
For the shelter of your mother's little help. I can't wait to talk about that song.
Yes.
Twice.
Yeah, I was to say we're talking about that song twice, and we're talking about two different versions of our Out of Time. One's a longer version and one's a shorter version. But
All right.
Well, we've reached the end of our review portion of this. Don't
Top
worry,
Oh, top five. Top five. We gotta
Top
share our
five
top
songs.
five.
And by the way, before we do that, this is the last time until Aftermath that we're gonna be doing UK, not UK. We're gonna be doing non-album singles. Out of Our Heads and December's Children have the singles on the album.
This could be the last time, maybe the last time, but I don't know.
But
Who wants to go first with the top five, though?
all right. All right, go ahead, Scott.
Okay. And once again, I'm going to have to just ruin the top one and go 1 to 5, or I'm going to ruin it. But number 1 favorite song on this album is Heart of Stone. I love that song. It is amazing. Number 2 is going to be Off the Hook. That song is great. Number 3, I'm going to go with Surprise, Surprise. And number 4, oddly enough, is going to be Down Home Girl.
All right.
You can go next, Jacob.
All right. What was number 5?
Oh, wait, sorry.
You said
I only did 4.
you only
Okay.
did. Yeah, you only did number 4.
Oh. Everybody needs somebody to love.
Okay. All right. So my top 5. Number 5, Down the Road of Peace. Number 4, Off the Hook. Number 3, What a Shame. Actually, no, I'm going to swap that. I think I'm going to go What a Shame, number 4. Never mind. Off the Hook at number 3.
It's great.
And then number 2, Surprise, Surprise. Number 1, Heart of Stone.
Great list. My number 5 is going to be Heart of Stone. Great song. My number 4 is going to be Down Home Girl. My number 3 is going to be Down the Road of Peace. My number 2 is going to be Surprise, Surprise. And my favorite song on the album, I told this to Jacob, but my favorite song on the album is Little Red Rooster. The guitar playing on this song is just so top notch, and I love the way Jagger delivers I love his vocal lines on this album, on this song. I feel like this is him at his peak right now as a Stones member. So that combined with that is just, to me, a perfect Stones song. This is of the 3 Stones albums that we covered, this is their best song up until now.
Yeah. Some of my honorable mentions, I would say, actually, I got 3 honorable mentions. Everybody Needs Somebody to Love, particularly the long version. You Can't Catch Me and Down Home Girl. And if I Want to Be Loved was on one of these albums, it would have been an honorable mention as well. And then my least favorites is Mona.
I'm going to have to give You Can't Catch Me the honorable mention. And you know what? You guys can keep changing your names on all these streams, but I'm just going to keep mine as Keith Richard. You want to know why? Because I will never die.
Yeah, once I find a name that I like, I'll keep it. Kind of experimenting with the names right now.
I just like playing around with each album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I just took mine because his nickname is Keith. And then on the back of the albums, up until like Sticky Fingers, they left off the S and it just said Keith Richard. So,
Okay.
My honorable mentions would be the other originals, What a Shame and Off the Hook,
Okay.
it's Off the Hook.
and the dishonorable song None. Because, well, if I had to pick, if the gun was pointing in my head, I'd say We Got a Good Thing Going.
Yeah. It's more just a song than a bad song.
Yeah.
Though.
Yeah, I don't even think Mona's a bad song. Like, it's just like middle of the road for me.
Mm-hmm. What would you guys give the album rating?
All right. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was a terrific album.
Wow.
Great step up in quality from the first 2 albums. I thought this film. What am I saying? Film? Probably because I was on Ryan
It's record.
Grant's
It's record.
podcast earlier today. But I thought this album had improved production all around, great songs, a lot of hidden gems, and it just shows, the continued growth of the Stones as a band. And I think if this album shows any indication, I think we're in for a great ride the rest, at least during their heyday, a good chunk of the way. Curious where the rest is going to go, but this third album, I thought.
What would you give it, Scott?
I'm not gonna be as optimistic as Jacob is about the score. Jacob loved the album. I'm gonna go a 7 out of 10 because I know what they're capable of, and I'm ready to talk about that. But still a great album.
I'm gonna give it a 9.75 out of 10.
Oh wow!
It's nearly a perfect album. My only problem is that there is one too many covers on it. And there is a song or two that's like not their best of quality. So I want to give it a 10 out of 10 because of the great, like the top 5 gives it a 9 out of 10 alone. But I'm gonna be honest, that's my biggest gripe with the Stones as of now. It's just too many covers. But
Yeah.
I would say the big thing that gave it a 9 for me was the 4 originals. The 4 originals were so good, along with their best covers. Now there's some weaker covers, but between the best covers and the 4 originals, I'm like, yeah, this is a really good album.
I will say this that the next album you're gonna be like, the originals are just so good that what's the point of them even covering at this point?
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
when Aftermath comes in.
Yep, I was to say these next 2 albums you're gonna think that, but yeah, Aftermath they're gonna be like, finally, you're finally writing all their songs. Well, I would say it took them 6 albums to do it, but technically in the UK it only took them 4 albums to do a full writings album. But since we're doing the US albums, it's 6 albums. But anything you guys like to add or mention before we close off stream for today? Today was a long stream. It was over an hour.
Was
Yeah.
had fun with this one.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's good getting to talk great quality Rolling Stones. I think we're off the hook from the mediocre stuff, and I think this is the sign that we're getting some great stuff. Hopefully, it won't turn us into a heart of stone.
How about you, Scott?
Well, for me, all I have to say is get ready for the next review, because the next one is the one where the Stones really cement their place in music history.
Yes. Thank you guys for watching this video. It was a pleasure making this. Again, shout outs to Scott for letting this video happen today, because this week with Jacob, it was originally going to just be the Johnny Cash on my channel, but I'm glad we were able to review this thing. But up until then, thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you, Briar. Pleasure having you watch the video. Stephen, thank you for watching this. Pleasure to have you comment on the video. Hopefully to see and hear from you on the next albums. Telling by the reference of 2000 Man, I could tell I think you might like their Saying Matches request. I could be wrong. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next stream. So long.